Hey there, CJ Math students, and welcome to Notes 5.6 Part 2. So we're going to go ahead and do number 7 here. And it says, Perry rented a bike from Brenda's Bikes. It cost $11 plus $3 per hour. Perry paid $29. And he rented the bike for how many hours? So basically, X is basically saying, okay, how many hours? The amount of hours we don't know. All right, and the equation is very straightforward. It's basically right embedded here in the problem. That I'm going to pay a flat fee of $11. Additionally, I'm going to have to pay $3 for every hour that I rent it. And they're telling me that, hey, you paid $29, so figure out how many hours you rented it for. So there's my equation, right? I add negative 11 to both sides. They cancel out. I drop down my 3x exactly as it is. Again, this is a different sign, subtract more, so 29 minus 11 is 18, and it's positive 18 because I had more positives. And then my second step is to say, okay, 3 times what number is 18? I divide both sides by 3 to figure that out, and x is equal to 6. I rented it for 6 hours. And then again, you could take your answer, go back in, and say, okay, if I rented it for 6 hours, that's $3 per hour. 6 times 3 is 18. And no matter what, I had to pay them $11, so 18 plus 11. Did I pay them 29? 18 plus 11 is 29. I know I'm right. I'd pause this if I were you and try and do number 8. All right, number 9. We have Mark won 98 lollipops playing the beanbag toss at his school's game night. Later, he gave 3 to each of his friends. He only has 8 remaining. So how many friends does he have? So basically, we're saying X is the number of Mark's friends that he gave lollipops to. Right? And if I'm to write an equation, I'm saying, all right, I had 98. I'm giving away 3 lollipops to each of my friends, but 98, I don't know the number of my friends. That's where X comes in. And I know that I'm left with 8. So there's my equation, right? So I go ahead and say add negative 98 to both sides. So that cancels out. Make sure you drop down not 3x, but negative 3x. Be very careful of your signs. This is a DSSM, so really I'm doing 98 minus 8, which is 90, but I had more negatives, so negative 90. And then I divide by negative 3. And same sign's positive here. I'm sorry if you can't see my negative. Those are both negative. So x is equal to 30. Mark had 30 friends. Popular guy. He gave out 3 lollipops to 30 of his friends. So think about that, right? 3 times 30 is 90. I only had 8 remaining. 90 plus 8, that's the 98 original that he had. I'd pause and do number 10 if I were you. All right, number 11. James spent half of his weekly allowance on the movies, or at the movies. To earn more money, his parents let him wash the car for 10. What is his weekly allowance at the end? So X is the weekly allowance that we don't know, right? We do know that he spent half of it, so we could say something like x over 2, right? Spending half of it. Taking x and dividing it into 2, meaning half of it's gone. And then we also know that he earned 10 more washing the car, and he ended up with $15. Okay, so x over 2 plus 10 is equal to 15. Let's go ahead and solve this. We add negative 10 to both sides. Cancels out because it's 0. X over 2 is equal to 15 plus 10. Different signs, subtract more. So 5. 15 minus 10 is 5. I had more positives. Some number divided by 2 is going to give me 5. How do I figure that out? I multiply both sides by 2. Those cancel out. And so X is equal to 10. So he gets $10 a week from his parents for his allowance. And let's think about that. So he gets $10. He spends half of it, so that means there's only 5 left, and then he gets 10 more from his parents for washing the car. $15. 10 plus 5 is 15. We know we have it right. Pause it and try number 12. All right, 13. Half of your baseball card collection got wet and was ruined, so you bought 8 cards to replace some that were lost. How many did you begin with if you now have 25? So what is X? The original amount of cards, right? We know that half of them get ruined, so x over 2, half of them are gone. I'm going to buy 8 more to try and make up for some of them that I lost, and I'm going to end up with 25. So add negative 8 to both sides. cancels out. Bring down x over 2 is equal to, this is again DSSM, different sign, subtract more, so 25 minus 8 is 17. And it's positive 17 since we have more positives. To finish this off, I multiply both sides by 2. That cancels off. I get x is equal to 34. 17 times 2 is 34. So think about it. If I had 34 baseball cards, half of them get ruined. That means 17 of them are gone, right? I buy 8 more. 17 plus 8. I should have 25 left, and that's exactly how many I have now, 25. So I'd pause and try and do number 14. This is the end of part